So Valve announced the Steam Deck, and I'm a little bit late to the news, but we're going to talk about a couple other things that's a little bit more new that you may not have heard mixed in all of one video. Welcome back to another video here on the channel, friends. Today, we are talking about the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck, you may have heard of it, maybe you haven't heard of it. I'm going to throw up either a trailer or pictures up on screen if you haven't seen it, if you haven't heard of it. It's a pretty cool little portable device that Valve just announced. It looks really, really sleek. It basically has two kind of thumbsticks. It has like a X, Y, A, B buttons. It has like an L1 and R1 and like an R2 and L2, but it also has 4 back buttons as well, where you're like your index finger and your middle finger and the rest of your hand would go. It has 4 back buttons, and it has 2 track pads underneath the sticks as well. A pretty interesting looking thing. It has like the power button on top, and like it has a USB-C port. It has volume. Very interesting little thing. It has a D-pad, of course, as well. And it's basically like a mobile PC, I guess, is how they're marketing this thing, as far as I know. Now, I'm a little bit late to talking about it initially because there was a bunch of other stuff I was trying to cover. Skyward Sword HD actually just came out, so I've been covering that over on my Nintendo channel. But I want to talk about a couple things because pre-orders went live today that are going to be for this year. And then there's also pre-orders for next year. So it's kind of a little bit confusing in that regard, because there's 2 different waves, and I don't know. It's weird because the orders for for 2022 apparently were not supposed to be. I think if I understood right, they weren't supposed to be until July 18th, which is going to be this Sunday. I don't know. I'm kind of a little bit confused how they're doing it, but they're basically rolling out the pre-orders in waves, and that's partly a way to try to combat scalpers as well. But anyways, the point being is that today, the initial pre-orders went live, and some people got through and got it. Some people didn't. I initially went ahead and tried to. I had a little bit of difficulties. It kept not going through. I've seen a lot of people were having the same issue. I tried on like everything. I tried the desktop app. I tried the website on my computer, on my phone, and all 3 of those places were not working. So I tried to download the mobile app, and that's the only place that suddenly said that my account wasn't old enough, which is a very old account. And there's people that were saying that, their account was 10 years old, and for some reason they couldn't get it to go through. So all in all, basically, there was a lot of technical issues with the site and whatnot. Funny thing enough is, as I go to pull up the site to get some information to make this video, the reserve now appeared again, and so it went through for me this time. Weird, right? But now it's saying expected order availability Q2 2022 underneath it. So the order I just got might not come until like 2022, which is Q2 2022, which kind of sucks because that's like in a year. That's basically next summer. So it is what it is. What can you do? So there's 3 different models. Now I just said that actually the one I ordered is Q2 2022, but there's actually one that is Q1 2022. So there's 3 models that come with 3 different kind of packages, right? So I'm going to give this to you in Canadian prices. I'm actually not 100% sure the American prices. I don't know if I can open this up. I think if I open this up in incognito, I can tell you guys the American prices, because I know most of you guys are probably American. It's still telling me Canadian. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's $500 Canadian for the base model. The base model is 64 gigs with an eMMC, and it comes with a carrying case. All of these come with a carrying case. Now, the 2 other models come with an NVMe SSD, and they're much, much larger storage sizes. So the one that I pre-ordered, it's not really a pre-order, it's more like a reserve. So then they contact you if you want to pre-order it. It's kind of a weird thing. Like I said, they're trying to combat scalpers, I guess. And try to actually get it to people that actually want one. So the second model is 250 gigs, and it's an NVMe. The third model is 512 gigs and NVMe SSD. The first one only comes with a carrying case. The second one also has an exclusive Steam community profile bundle. Not even sure exactly what that means. And then the third one has an exclusive virtual keyboard theme as well on top of that, and a premium anti-glare etched glass. So I guess the 2 other models don't have that. So for Canadian pricing, It goes $500, $659, so $160 more for the next one, but this one has an NVMe. And then if you want the double the storage with a premium anti-glare etched glass, then you're paying $820 Canadian, which is almost, that's like what, $160 more on top of that. So each of them go up $160 Canadian. Now, throwing this into US currency, I believe the first one is like $399.99, I think, if I remember right. I think it's like $400 US. And then beyond that, I would assume the next one would probably be $550 as my guess. And the next one is probably like $750, $749. I don't know. I don't have, like I said, I don't have the American prices here for some reason. But yeah, anyway, so that's the Steam Deck. There's also going to be a dock that they're working on that's going to be sold separately. More information about that's going to come soon. It's going to be powered with a USB-C hub. Excuse me. And basically the idea of this dock is that it has an Ethernet port on it. It has an HDMI port. I believe it has a display port too, a USB-C port, 3 USB. I guess they're 3.0s from the looks of it. And I think it has like it looks like a headphone jack. I don't know, or like maybe an auxiliary jack or whatnot. Now we're gonna jump into a little bit more kind of the technical side of things because you know, we want to talk about, of course, the specs. We talked about the pricing. Let's talk about the specs in case you don't know. We're going to jump into this. It is also worth noting, by the way, that some people apparently have already gotten hands-on, and some people are saying that it feels pretty comfortable, because I was kind of wondering, especially with the joysticks way up at the top, that looks like it might be a little bit weird and uncomfortable. But I don't know. People are saying that apparently it's comfortable. So again, the initial orders were going to start shipping in December 2021. Then there's some other availability for Q1 2022 and Q2 2022. That's gonna, you know, vary depending on your region and depending on how early you got an order and whatnot. So, but here's what the specs look like, you know, on a kind of overall basis between all three models. So it has an AMD Zen 2 CPU. It has a 4-core, 8-thread CPU. The clock speed is around 2.4 to 3.5 gigahertz. The GPU is an AMD RDNA 2. GPU compute units 8. The clock speed is about 1 to 1.6 gigahertz. It has 16 gigs of RAM, pretty solid. LPDDR5. We have, like I said, the storage depends, right? It's a 7-inch LCD touchscreen. The resolution is kind of odd. It's 1280 by 800, but I believe I read somewhere that everything's going to be running at 1080p, but technically the resolution's not 1080. It's like just above 720. It's like 800p. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Refresh rate 60 hertz, so you can't go anything above, 60. Stereo speakers, 3.5 millimeter jack, kind of, typical standard stuff. It has dual mics, so that's interesting. It has dual mics in it. Connectivity, includes Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, USB Type-C with DisplayPort 1.4 support, like I mentioned. Battery and whatnot. I believe they said the battery would last about, I think it was like 2 to 6 or 8 hours roughly. I gotta find that. And then it has a couple other things like that. The weight is about 1.47 pounds and whatnot. Yeah, so the pricing in American is $399, $529, $649. So there you go. I got the American prices for you guys right there. But yeah, anyways, so again, there's, different models between the three, or slightly different, things. Like I said, the premium, what was it? Anti-glare on the highest tier one. And then beyond that, it's just, an NVMe for the middle and the top tier, and the size of the hard drive and whatnot. So, beyond that, let me find, I've lost exactly where it is. I had more details, but it is also worth noting the LCD panel has 400 nits brightness, which is decent. I guess it's pretty solid for, kind of like a little mobile device or whatnot. So interestingly enough, IGN, who got hands-on with it, they're saying it's like a PC and you can install whatever you want on it. Apparently you could wipe the Steam OS and you can install Windows 10 on it if you want. It's basically a little mini PC, essentially, is what they're saying. So that's kind of interesting in that regard. It's kind of, I don't know. It's going to be pretty interesting. Basically, have like a handheld PC. It's not really a tablet. I mean, I guess it's the closest thing to it would be a tablet. But it's not quite a tablet. It's not obviously a laptop. It's not a desktop, that's for sure. But if you dock it, you could run it as a desktop kind of style thing. It's kind of weird in that sense. But it's very interesting. So I don't know. So I can't seem to find the details regarding the battery, but it was dependent. I did read somewhere that they said that, you know, if for example, if you play in 60 FPS, then you're going to get obviously less battery time. If you play in 30 FPS, of course, you're going to get more battery time. So little things like that, you know, you could tweak how things are. It's not the most powerful little thing, but it's obviously, you know, it's kind of, the idea is really cool because it's basically like a PC, a handheld PC. It's really weird. I don't know. It's very different. I hear some people trying to compare it to the Nintendo Switch and that. I don't think this is the same. I don't think this is even comparable. You know, some people are thinking that this is like maybe competitive to the Nintendo Switch. But first of all, Nintendo always does their own thing. They're in their own world. They're just focused on creating fun experiences. They don't care about the most powerful hardware. They're just kind of doing their own thing. I don't see this being necessarily like an actual direct competitor to the Nintendo Switch. There's probably some people out there that are saying, you know, oh, they're gonna get this instead of like the Nintendo Switch OLED, for example, or whatnot. But I don't know that it's a direct competitor. Maybe to some extent, but not the same as like PlayStation versus Xbox, for example. I don't think it's going to be that kind of competition between the two because these are two totally different things. Whereas PlayStation and Xbox, they offer, you know, obviously they both have their own unique experiences. They both have their own, you know, AAA games, but they essentially offer mostly, you know, kind of a very similar experience, whereas the Steam Deck and the Nintendo Switch are two completely polar opposite, different kind of you know, experiences. You know, there's a lot of people that have always said, you know, they want to see Nintendo compete with PlayStation and Xbox, but they don't have to. PlayStation and Xbox competing against each other. Nintendo is doing their own thing, and I feel like I don't see the Switch really kind of competing against this thing in that kind of way, if that makes any sense. But beyond that, I mean, it's definitely a really cool idea. I'm very intrigued to see how it's going to run, how people are going to find it when they actually get hands-on. Yeah, I did reserve one. I don't know 100% if I'm going to actually follow through and purchase it. Obviously, like I said, a reservation is more like you put $5 down and then they hit you up and they're like, okay, you can pre-order it now if you'd like to, and at that point I'm going to decide, you know, whether I want to or not, but we'll see. Because again, you know, especially for the price and whatnot, it's like, hey, I don't know, man. I'm not, to me, it's not like I have, for that kind of experience, I have my computer. But it is kind of cool to be able to take that kind of experience on the go. That's the idea. Again, the idea that you can basically, apparently you can wipe the Steam OS and install Windows 10 is very intriguing. So, I don't know, take it as you will. I just want to make a quick video kind of sharing some of my thoughts on it, kind of talking about, you know, the whole thing going on, you know, with the pre-orders and reservations and stuff as well. Let me know what you guys think and whatnot. But one thing's for sure is it's definitely interesting. It's a definitely interesting, unique concept. For the price though, like I said, I mean, you know, yes, the selling point here is taking it on the go. But technically speaking, if you don't go on the go very much, you could get more bang for your buck buying an Xbox Series X, Series S, or a PS5 even, if you can find one, of course. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you guys going to pick one of these up? Do you see more value in just like a home console? Like I said, the Series X, Series S, PS5. You could probably even whip up a budget PC for that price. Maybe not, you know, that kind of power. Maybe depends where you find your deals. You never know. But I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and if you plan to pick one up when they come out and whatnot. So anyways, wanted to just kind of quickly touch on that. Again, if you are into Nintendo content, I'm streaming Skyward Sword HD a bunch over on my Nintendo channel. There's a link down in the description below. Also been playing through Monster Hunter Stories 2 over there. Those are kind of like the two big July games. Not a lot going on that's non-Nintendo. So for this channel, we're just going to keep talking about games. There's not a lot to play right now on this channel. So just hang in there. We'll play some more games eventually. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you guys soon in another one. Till then, game on.